gotta put one of your shelves in it, Ed.
All right, here we are here on a new basement. And I just wanted to show you guys some specialty framing because you might be running into some stuff like this in your basement. And I've really never talked about different tiers in the ceiling before, but we had a situation here where we had this rotten piece of ductwork here that came down almost 5 inches, all right? And it was just in this one little corner here outside this closet door. And we didn't want to lower the whole ceiling in the whole room down 5 inches. So what we decided to do was we built down 5 inches using this 2x4, 3.5 ways, and then one flat 1.5 inches, all right? 3.5, 4.5, 5 inches, all right? That brought us down 5 inches. Now you can frame that any way you want. You could have ripped 2x6 5 inches and put this together, but the point that I'm trying to show you here is we framed down in just the corner, okay, from this corner right here over to this wall here, okay? We'll stand back and you can see what we did there. All right, we kind of came off the corner of the closet there with this 5-inch frame, and we just went right around the ductwork and back to this wall here. And then instead of running that 5-inch frame the whole way across the room here to this wall over here, we went back up to our traditional banding, which is just 1.5 inches thick. All right, and the reason that we did that was we had a condensation line up in here, which is the line from the air conditioning unit outside in the yard that runs into the indoor unit. And 1.5 inches kills this. So we just used some traditional 1.5 inches 2x4s flat weights right here, shot them up to the floor joist, and that swallowed up our condensation line. All right, that's up inside there now. And we tried to keep it all off the corner of that wall over there. And that might seem a little confusing to you, but you can see how we come off the corner of the wall, we're 5 inches down, and then we step up right there to the 1.5 inch banding, and then the 1.5 inch banding continues down to that wall. All right, so we have, in the end here, we have a two-tier ceiling, 5 inches to get underneath the ductwork, and then 1.5 inches to get below the condensation line that goes to the air conditioning unit. And then the rest of the ceiling on this whole side of the basement, we're back up to the bottom of the floor joist because there's nothing else on our road. All right, everything else is up past the plane of the bottom of the floor joist. So we're good for the rest of the basement ceiling in this room to go all the way up. So, you know, we made the best sense we could out of a bad situation. We tried to keep it clean and streamlined. We did have to come down, unfortunately, 5 whole inches there. But that's the nature of the beast. We couldn't reroute this ductwork here. All right, we couldn't just take it out. So we boxed it out 5 inches down, and you know, if we pass underneath here with our drywall from here to here, we're going right underneath this ductwork now because our framing is just a little bit lower than that ductwork. So that takes care of the ductwork. And I think it's a decent look. This is a very old home, probably built in the early 50s, if not late 40s. We only have a ceiling height down here of about 7.5 feet from the concrete floor to the bottom of the floor joist. So, you know, you can finish your basement in any style home, any age home, as long as you got at least, I mean, I like to tell people you should have at least 7 feet. I mean, I like 8 feet. You know, everybody I'm sure would like to have 8-foot ceilings, if not 9-foot ceilings. But if you got a low ceiling in your basement like this one, 7.5 feet isn't traditional. It's 6 inches lower than standard. You're still okay. When you drywall this ceiling, it's still going to give you a good height. Now, what you don't want to do with a ceiling that's 7.5 foot high is put a drop ceiling in, because then you're going to lose about 3 more inches, and it's going to feel like it's coming down on top of your head. So if you have a low ceiling, you're definitely going to want to drywall your ceiling and keep it as high as possible. Tom, you look like you're having a great time this morning.
Doty doty. Yeah, we're loving life again.
You're loving the framing, aren't you? Yes, you are.
Doesn't get any better.
All right, guys. So I hope that may have helped you out with one of your problems with your ceiling framing. The ceiling is the hardest thing to frame in a basement because most of your obstacles are overhead. in the basement. As I'm sure you probably already know, all the pipes and the ductwork and the wires and whatnot, you got to work around all of it. And there's just one more example of how you can frame around different obstacles in your basement and make it look great. Morning, Tom.
How you doing?
Hey, we wanted to show you guys, we're back here in our storage room on a little basement here at Camp Hill, and Tom's getting ready to tap into the backside of the return air. And what he's got in his hand there is called a 6-inch takeoff boot, and I can show you what that looks like. He's using it right now as a template. He just drew a template right on the back side of the duct trunk. And I wish I had a little bit better light for you here, but it is kind of dark in here.
We have a fluorescent you can plug in behind you, if you dare.
But here's what the 6-inch boot looks like, and I've showed you these before in other videos, and we show you exactly how to do this in our HVAC video at the basement store. But this boot right here will get cut into the duct trunk right there, and this will give us a way into the existing duct system. Right? In this case, we're tapping into the return. Now, we also used these when we tapped into the feeds and fed our feeds in our rooms. And you can see up here, we've got one feed up here that we tapped in, which goes up over the ceiling, and it ends up out here at this register out here in the ceiling, which feeds this bedroom. And we also have another one in this bedroom over here in the ceiling, and we can go back here and see where we tapped that one as well. And that one we tapped right up here. You can see us coming right off the duct trunk right there with another one of these 6-inch boots. We also use these for the return air.
And then we went right into a 90 to make our turn nice.
Yeah, we came out with the 6-inch boot. We turned it into a 90, which we connected onto the boot, and that brought us around in a nice 90-degree motion here, so we didn't pinch off our flex duct. And then we went up and over into the floor joist cavity right there, and then that shoots straight over into that other bedroom where we're coming down through the ceiling. Now what we're doing this morning is we're tapping into the return trunk, and we're going to run a 6-inch line over into the wall and get some return air going as well.
It's gonna make some major noise. You may not be around, want to be around for this.
Okay, so we're going to use a sawzall with a metal blade. We're going to cut that circle out. Your nippers, Tom, is that what you're trying to do? Just break through and get your nippers in there? So you're trying to get just a slit started with the sawzall, just enough to get the end of our shears in there, and then we're going to use our tin snips to cut the circle out. Anyway, look, we're back here in the storage room, bordering the finished space, and as you can see in the wall right here, that ladder looking thing right there is actually a pocket door. You can see the unfinished side, but this is a pocket door that slides across here, and what we made was a little opening at the bottom of the stairs at the homeowner's request in a really tight area. Normally this would be a solid wall, but they wanted to get a door at the base of the stairs. You can see it's kind of congested here. They got a landing here at the bottom of the stairs, and you can see we got a small pocket door going in there. So you can see he's using yellow-handled aviator nippers. You can buy those at the Home Depot.
But it doesn't have to be anything too spectacular.
No. And nowadays, most of the ductwork that we run across is made out of foam board, and we're cutting it with a foam ductboard knife, which is a heck of a lot easier than the old metal ductwork. And this home was probably built in the early 50s. This is a very old home with a rather low ceiling. We did show you the framework on this job when we were framing it out, and we showed you how we framed down that little 5-inch drop there, and then the 1.5-inch drop down. That's when we did our banding, when we were hiding the ductwork up in there, and some and I think the air conditioning condenser line was up in that 1.5-inch drop down. So we had to use some of our banding tricks to get below some of the stuff, and you'll find a lot of this lower lying fruit in these old homes. In this room in here, we had one obstacle in the ceiling. You can see we had another 5-inch drop down right there, and we went around another piece of ductwork that was in our way that we just could not move. So we did have two small little sections of ceiling that we had to band down to get below the ductwork on this job. which you really hate to do because ultimately you'd like to have one high flat ceiling the whole way across, but sometimes it's just the nature of the beast. We've also got one of our closet doors right here that we went in underneath the stairs. You've seen us do this in other videos as well. And when you open up the door, you can actually see there's the stairs going up. The closet ceiling actually goes up with the angle of the stairs, but it still gives us some space underneath the steps to put some closet-made shelving in and create a half decent closet for storing stuff, or in this case, hanging some clothes and you know, keeping the shoes and whatever else you're going to put in this closet. This is actually going to be a bedroom. Actually, they're both bedrooms. We enlarged the home by making 2 bedrooms in the basement for them. Yes, Tom?
Ready to do this back here.
Okay. All right, Tom's ready to put this 6-inch boot on now for the return air. We can see he's got a nice hole in the ductwork there. All right, so we're using metal foil duct tape with the self-sticking back on it here. You peel the paper away from the tape.
Yeah,
And this is foil now. It's actually metal tape. It's not standard duct tape. It is actually made out of metal, real thin metal, as a matter of fact.
I know.
All right, so this 6-inch collar is going to get inserted into this hole, and then what Tom's going to do is he's going to bend those perforated ears on the side of the collar. And you can see those slits going around the outside. Once he gets it into position, he'll stick his hand inside there. And what he wants to do is get it flat back against the ductwork, just like he has it. Once you get it back tight, you reach your hand inside and you bend those ears around till they press tight inside against the duct trunk, and that secures it into position. And once you get it all bent back, you'll take your foil tape and then you'll go around the outside and you'll tape this flange to the ductwork, creating a nice seal. All right, so now what we're doing now is we're putting a return into the return trunk. And when you're in the return trunk, the air is being sucked back out of the room into the furnace through the filter, and then, you know, it's getting filtered and then put back into the room through the feeds. So we had to get some return air action going, and we're only going to be putting one main return in, to feed both bedrooms with return air. So we'll get that all taped on there nice, which he has done, and then we're going to switch over to our flex duct. We buy this at Home Depot. We got a box of it right over here. You can see it's insulated flexible duct, 25 foot, and this is 6-inch. We're doing everything a 6-inch. You can use 4-inch, 6-inch. They make 7-inch, 8-inch, and they sell it all at Home Depot. We're using kind of middle of the road here. We're using the 6-inch variety, which is plenty for what we're doing here. Now there's where we're actually going to be connecting into our return air. We're doing a low return here because we're in the basement and heat rises, and we don't want to be sucking all the heat back out where it's going to be gathering at the ceiling. So we put a low return in. And Tom's got the flex duct out here on the floor. We're going to be connecting one end to the register right there, going into the finished side, and the other end right over here to the 6-inch collar that we just put into the return stack. I'm going to let Tom finish that up here, and we'll take a look at that then when he's got it all done and see how the connection between the two looks. So boiled down, that's how you do a return air into your finished area. And if you want to see more detailed video on this, check out the heating and cooling HVAC video we have at the basement store. And you can see we got a set of French doors down there going between one bedroom into the other, which I think is a nice touch. Someday that back room there is going to be an office, from what I understand, so they wanted to have the French doors all ready to go for when the children grow up, they can convert that into an office. We also put new windows, new replacement windows in the basement there. You can see they still got the tags on them. We ripped out the old cast iron frame windows and put in some modern vinyl clad replacement windows, and those are right off the shelf at Home Depot. I think they were like $69 or whatever a window. We built our birch boxes and extended our window jamb out till we got to the plane of our wall. out here to our drywall. Very deep windows. These are about 14 inches deep because we had some pipes that we had to go around inside this wall. That made us frame pretty far away from our outside block wall, concrete wall, and that created the deep window wells, which you could put a plant up there or sit some knickknacks up in there, a real nice window box. Inside this closet door right here, we've got one of our staple basement things we always have to work around on most jobs, and that was the sump pump, which is in there that operates the waterproof system. If you can see, there's a perimeter waterproof system going around the perimeter of this basement the whole way around because they had a water problem, and this sump pump in here has the pump in it that takes away the groundwater that the waterproof system collects, and it's stuck out from the corner of the basement walls about 2 foot in each direction. So we just built this little closet right around it there and put a standard raised panel door on it to match the rest of the house. We also replaced the exterior door right there, which goes to the backyard, with a brand new 6-panel 36-inch insulated steel door. That was part of the project. So we have a new exterior door. We've got another replacement window in here. Again, it has that nice deep window well, about 14 inches deep. They're extra deep. They're normally not that deep, but because we had some of the waterproof system pipes underneath the window, we had to build in front of those pipes. We couldn't remove them, and that created the depth that you're looking at there for that basement window. We got another little bifold closet we had to build in the corner here. We put some finished closet-made shelving in there. And inside that closet, we actually had the electrical panel box. You can see the cover's not on it right now. We're still working on it. But that's inside that closet as well. So we hid the panel box away inside another closet. And that pretty much is this job in a nutshell. Nothing super fancy here. This was a real simple job. Just 2 rooms, about 400 square feet down here. And a couple nice amenities, like the replacement windows and doors, and the double French doors here going from room to room were a nice touch. At the top of the stairs, we did our full light French door, 15 light door. You can see they still got the painter's plastic on that, but that's a glass door up there, tempered glass door, which it's a nice touch at the top of the stairs. Do that on every job. And there's that pocket door at the base of the stairs, which will enable them to come down to the landing and zip right into the unfinished area where they have their washer and dryer. And they didn't want to have to go through the boys' bedrooms to get to the washer and dryer. That's why we put the pocket door at the base of the stairs.
Mr. Case.
And this job with materials, labor, flooring was right around $19,000. If you were doing this basement by yourself, and you did all the work yourself, you'd probably be looking somewhere in the neighborhood of about $4,000 to $5,000 in materials. So the rest of that is labor. So that's one heck of a savings if you would do this type of a basement project yourself. You'd save a heck of a lot of money. Now we're doing this for a client who doesn't have the time to do their own basement and didn't have any desire to do it. So, and that's the going rate here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It may be less in your area, it may be more, but that's average for about 500, 600 square foot of living space in our area. Right around 20 grand without a kitchen or a bathroom or a bar. You know, just framing basically, drywall, trim and doors for about 500, 600 square foot, right around 20,000.
Did you tell them, you know, granted we did put our heating ductwork in first on the job, but we always save connecting the return air until we're done with the job, done sanding, done everything. That way we're not sucking all this construction
Good
dust.
point. That's a good point.
You know, we actually waited to put the return in on the last day when we're out of here, so we're not,
right.
You know, after we vacuum everything.
So we're not
up.
sucking the construction debris off the floor and distributing it to the rest of the house. Because this system's running to the whole house.
Yep, and like I said, we purposely waited on that just for that reason. Yeah, you know, just a note.
Yep, that's a good note. And the feeds that were in the ceiling, we hooked them up as soon as we put them in so we could blow warm, dry air into the basement while we were finishing the drywall.
Absolutely.
So that kept the nice warm air moving, helped us, you can see we're not painted in here yet. All of our walls are are still just sanded out, but they're all ready for paint. But all this drywall compound that we had on the walls here, all these nails and all these joints we had between our pieces, if you don't have moving warm air in the basement or fans going or something to keep the air moving, your drywall compound can take days longer to dry. So we always connect our feeds and get our heat moving early in the project so that when we do hang our drywall, we've got nice warm air being pumped in. So that's pretty much it for this basement here, guys. We'll let the homeowners get this painted and get the rugs in, and maybe we'll stop back with the camera and take a look at the finished project.